Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have the dignitaries for the next important session, Technology for Better Governance, the Fireside Perspectives. We have the Honorable Minister for Revenue, Government of Karnataka, Shri Krishna Bairegowda. In the interest of time, I would request the Honorable Minister to kindly come over to the stage directly. So please put your hands together. I would also request Shri Prashant Prakash, Chairman Vision Group on Startups, Government of Karnataka, and the founding partner of Axis Partners to kindly come over. Mr. Prashant Prakash. This session will be moderated. Sir, kindly be seated. Moderated by Shri Naganand Doraiswamy, founder and managing director of Idea Spring Capital. We have just got the information that the Honorable Minister for Health and Family Welfare, Shri Dinesh Gundu Rao, is going to join the session in a short while from now. But in the interest of time, we are starting this session, and Mr. Prashant Prakash also will join in. So kindly be seated, sir. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the moderator of this session, Naganand Doraiswamy, is a technologist at heart, an entrepreneur by choice, and an investor by profession. So he has seen all, he has seen everything, and he has been a tremendous amount of supporter for organization focusing on entrepreneurship and innovation. Naganand has also co-authored a book on IP-Sec published by Prentice Hall. So straight away, I would hand over the session to Shri Naganand Doraiswamy, the founder and managing director of Idea Spring Capital. And as we are all aware, this is a fireside perspective for technology for better governance. Let's give a round of applause and welcome both of them. The other two dignitaries will join in a few minutes.
Sir, thanks a lot, and sir, very happy to have you with us, amongst us, in the technology conference. Like I was telling you, this is a tech conference, so it's a very freewheeling conference, very open, so you can speak your heart out, and entrepreneurs have to listen both good side and the bad side of everything. So I'm hoping that with your immense experience that you have had in various departments and running governments and interacting with so many people, we'll get a lot of pearls of wisdom from you today to set us in the right path going forward in working with the government. So that said, I will start off with my first question, and this is mostly focused on innovation and what part it plays in government's governance. And I know you are currently the revenue minister, but previously you were the agri minister, and you have other many experiences, but would love to start off with that question and would love to get your views on that. Specifically around what aspects of tech or innovation that you have seen in your career that has helped in the governance or benefits that the citizens of Karnataka get from these technologies?
Karnataka has always been a leader in adopting technology in governance. Currently, I look after the revenue department. And if we look here itself, way back in the late 90s, we started with the digitization of land records. So Bhumi, which became a model for the whole country, which was digitization of our land title, was started in Karnataka. From there, of course, we have come a long way now to...
Intervention. I'll call the other two people.
Sure.
Well, the Honorable Minister for Health and Family Welfare, Shri Dinesh Gundu Rao, is here. Please put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen. And also we have Shri Prashant Prakash, the Chairman on Vision Group on Startups. So sorry for that, Honorable Revenue Minister, sir. It's back to you.
Yeah. So we were talking about technology interventions, uses in some of the ministries that I have worked. And in the current Ministry of Revenue, so starting with the Bhumi project, which later became a role model for the whole country, now we have moved on. Today, we are experimenting with a resurvey of Karnataka. And to give you a little bit of background, the survey of India was done in the year 1890. A piecemeal resurvey was done in 1920. Subsequently, we have not had a survey done in India at all. Now today, thanks to drone and availability of drone and a lot of the software that accompanies drone, we are attempting a resurvey of the whole of Karnataka. We have started a pilot in the district of Ramnagar. So you can imagine a thing that has not been done in 130 years. Today, we are even attempting it only because of technology and the availability of technology. And if this pilot proves successful, we can complete it in a record time over a 2-3 year period. So everywhere you see, there is role of technology. And I previously worked in agriculture ministry. In agriculture ministry, we didn't have accurate data of what crops are cultivated by which farmer, which village, which tehsil. We used to have data filled out manually by officers down the chain. But when we did a test audit of that data, we found that 50% of the crop survey was inaccurate. Meaning, if 50% is inaccurate, it is as good as 100% is inaccurate. Because 50% could anyway be right, hit or miss, right? There are only two sides to a coin. So if 50% is inaccurate, then it's thoroughly unusable data. Now today we have mobile crop survey system. It is GPS enabled, so my crop survey assistant has to go to that agriculture plot. Earlier he or she would sit in the office and do it. Hence we used to have inaccurate data, wrong data. Now the person has to go to the plot, take a photograph, and upload the crop of that field. Now with this technology, we are able to do 100% accurate crop survey for 100% of the geographical area of Karnataka. Right? This was the innovation we started in 2016-17. Now Government of India is now trying to do it in the rest of the country. So I can go on and on. But, I mean, if sitting in a tech summit, sitting in this environment, I look at myself, I look at the job I do every day, I can say that at every step of my way, either the technology is already playing a role, or I see a role for technology in every step of the way where there is no technology. And going forward, the only way I can sort out the mess in my department is only by using more and more technology. So, some of the past examples, but also going forward.
Yeah, would love to get your views on what is going to happen forward also, but to be very honest, yeah, digitization is the way to go to increase efficiency, and it's great to see those examples where you're digitizing all these land records or even using drones for survey. So just as a quick question, sir, what is the productivity improvement you're seeing because of using drones, satellite data or whatever, in terms of your ability to hence go get the land records, everything done, survey done? So without technology, it would be possible, or what's the productivity improvement?
My response is twofold. One, to the question you asked, the enhancement of the human capacity is tremendous, right? If I can automate most of the work of my human resource, perhaps you can look at a 50%, 60% enhancement of work delivery with the same available human resource. But another way to answer your question is, going back to the comparison, the illustration of the drones-based survey, today, I'm able to imagine and I'm able to attempt to do things that few years ago I would have dismissed as impossible. So what I'm trying to say is, thanks to technology, what was impossible is becoming possible today. It's not just a matter of a pipe dream. if the survey of India was not done for 150 years because we concluded it could not be done. Today it can be done only because of technology.
Great. Awesome. Yeah.
So, twofold. There is a certain human resource capacity enhancement, maybe 50-60% more delivery with the same human resource. But I am able to do, there were many administrative practices in the British system which got stopped over the decades because governance took on more and more responsibilities. With that, some of the basic responsibilities were there on the record to be done. They were there in the manual, but we never did. But today with technology, I can do those things as well, but I can also do more things. And I can go on and on about my vision for the future. I am envisioning things that are actually impossible, but I'm sure we can do it in a matter of time.
I will come to the vision, sir, because that is very important for all the ecosystem players here to see what should be our thought process in supporting the government. But sir, coming to you next, I mean, you are leading the healthcare department, which is an ocean in terms of what benefits you can give to the citizens of Karnataka. So your thoughts on technology, innovation, and what's your, how are you using it today, and what's your implementation plan on those aspects?
Hello everyone. Thanks for inviting me for this wonderful panel discussion. Technology has a role in every aspect of life, and of course in my department, health, definitely I think the role of technology is so huge, and there are so many new technologies and new ways of doing things that are constantly emerging. So it's also, for us, it's very challenging to also figure out what is the right technology and what is the one which can be used at scale, or what are the technologies that are scalable and which can be used across the board, across people who may not be very well skilled, but still be able to use that technology. Because my department reaches out to the entire state, and our concern is primary care and secondary care and public health. And so in these aspects, whatever we do, it needs to be able to be implemented in a large scale. So that's the challenge that we look at. Certain technologies are excellent, but the problem which those technologies will be that it cannot be put to use at the village level or at the rural level, and uninformed or unskilled, like say our ASHA workers or our primary health workers may not be able to use it. So that is one thing. Second thing is in terms of, there's so many things are there when it comes to technology in our department. One is data. How do we handle the data? How do we handle patient records? How do we compile all of that in a secure manner? And that's a very important part of it. And then how do we use technology to have a system which we can monitor? Because when we are covering almost 6,000-7,000 health centers, primary, secondary, taluka level, district level, it's very difficult for us to figure out in an easy manner how things are operating at the primary health center level. So, or at a taluka hospital, who's doing what job, which doctor is performing well, which nurse is performing well, how many surgeries are being done. The data is there, but for us to able to access the data and get the information, it needs a system. So that's another thing that we are looking at very closely. And of course there is artificial intelligence, which is now coming up in a big way. And in healthcare, it has got a huge role to play, where we can use AI-enabled systems to go through a lot of data, go through a lot of, like for example, we are working on this digitization, scanning of digital X-rays.
In radiology.
Radiology. Scanning of X-rays to detect, say, lung cancer and other lung-related diseases, and even typhoid. TB. So what happens is now using AI, there's a method that there's a possibility of now being able to scan through hundreds and thousands of X-rays, and the AI-enabled technology can detect suspect cases of, say, lung cancer, of tuberculosis, and then that can be referred to a set of doctors who will again take another relook, and then if you can detect a particular disease in early stage, then that helps in able to either cure the person or to be able to cure the person at a very low cost. So we are already working on that. We've tied up with AstraZeneca and another group of companies to do it on a pilot model in few districts. We're also using AI again for cardiac care. We are working on a hub and spoke model that CM has already announced in our budget, the Puneet Rajkumar Hridaya, that scheme that we've got. So that's something that we are working on. I can get into the details of that scheme if you want, but right now I would just like to say that our department is going to be technology driven, no doubt about it, because we need to know, even to know what's happening, in which district, in which taluk, what are the diseases there, what is affecting whom. So data management, hospital management, the disease management, treatment management, everything today is connected to technology. And if we have systems which can work at a very quick and efficient and fast pace, that helps us in making quick decisions. Like even for, say, our 108 ambulance service, if we improve the technologies that we have already, if we can improve it, then we can make it even more better than what it is now. We pick up the patient speaks to the person in the ambulance will speak to the nearest hospital doctor, inform the doctor that see that it goes going to the right hospital, and also to eliminate corruption, to eliminate so many things. I mean, I think there are many usages, and of course, like I said earlier, we have to be driven by all these high tech, new tech, medical technologies, and the advantage that Karnataka has got, I think, is some of the biggest names in medical technologies are in Bangalore.
And you also have a COE now, right, sir, to work on the Center of Excellence in Healthcare.
Yeah. We are right now trying to set up a Center of Excellence and health management, like an incubator where new technologies can be incubated, checked, and then delivered. So we are actually, even Prashant is there. We are trying to work on that. Even our IT minister is also here. So we are all working on that, and how we can check and incubate these technologies and then put it out to use.
That makes sense.
So we're working on that. And Bangalore, I think we've got everything here. We've got Siemens, we've got Philips, we've got GE, all the top international brands are here who are in medtech. We've got the people working on softwares. All these things are there. So I think how we bring all these things together and how we implement it and how we get things moving, I think, is the big challenge for us.
Awesome. And I have a question on health stack. I'll come back to you on
Yeah,
that
yeah,
as to
sure.
how we are integrating it.
Yeah.
So now on to you, Prashant. I mean, you have been in the forefront of innovation in Bangalore and across India and now also Southeast Asia. And you have done startups and you have also looked at a lot of corporates in terms of innovation. So your thoughts on what has been the impact of the startups or other large companies like Sir said, Philips and other things, on the governance and on the impact on the government. I'll stick to governance and government today in our discussion, although I know you have a lot of experience in other space, but would love to get your thoughts on this space.
See, I think there's two roles startups play. One role of startups is to build solutions that directly impact areas of service and service delivery, that whether it's in revenue, health, agri. So that's one, and I'll come to that later. But I think the other big role startups play is actually to complement and sometimes, leverage some of the data that is available with the government and be able to provide services on top of that, right? So if you look at the India stack, right, what is the beauty of the India stack is that the basic data and which was initially Aadhaar and then later you kept on adding, so the account aggregator started adding your personal financial data. So similarly, I think there will be a more systemic approach in agri, like an agri stack, health stack, and which is what we have started our work here. And a lot of these actually cannot be done at the central level. These are subjects which require a lot of local context, require a local, because the data, how data is managed, how data is curated and made usable in Karnataka will be very different in Chhattisgarh, right? So one of the things we are trying to do here in Karnataka is to do these custom stacks, which of course are inspired by the India stack, but which are purpose-built for these verticals. So just an example is the health stack. The two big challenges is startups have solutions. They want to deploy it. They need a sandbox. They need an accelerated environment in a district which can easily allow these startups to try out the solutions.
Very important.
So we are doing that, right? We need to also be able to provide startups clinical data to be able to fine-tune. I mean, we talk about AI, right? What is the underlying power of AI is the data, and I think it's the government that has the data. I was just telling the minister also that similarly land record data, agri data, I think that data provisioning to make startups help build these AI solutions and accelerate those solutions is, I think, the next frontier. And I think we already have certain, initiations there. But I think that will really accelerate the next level of innovations.
Very important, because without the sandbox, it's very hard to see how the solution is working.
Sandbox and data.
But
fast deployment.
Correct.
Usable data to build and fine-tune your algorithms.
And you also have the DP issues now, so one has to be very careful. Sir, coming to you next, we all, startups, VCs, we all say we have to work with the government, because government is the biggest buyer and we have a lot of opportunities. Your thoughts on how should startups engage with the government? How do you best make use of the opportunities that the government can provide and further the ecosystem and help the government in governance?
Good question. And a lot of opportunities as well. Before I answer that question, I was thinking about the earlier question you had asked me. And what is a good example, what role technology plays in governance, administration? In India, the British left us a legacy system of a file. So in government today, one of the biggest enduring symbols of government is a big pile of single file and a pile of many files, right? Some of the files may be years old, some of the files will be tattered, and many files would have accumulated dust over the years. This is one of the symbols of government and governance in India. And we inherited this from the British. And for a file to move from this chair to the next chair, it can take months, though we sit next to each other, right? And from this office to the next office, it can take half a year. And if a file has to come from the district to the state capital and then get cleared and go back, it might take a year. This is the pace of governance. Now, what technology has done to this? I'll give you one example. This is a real example of today. Yesterday, the district of Bidar Bidar is 700 kilometers from Bangalore, right? The northernmost district in Karnataka. A file was created yesterday at 3 p.m. The subordinate pushed it to the district DC at 6 p.m. DC approved it and pushed it to the principal secretary at 9 p.m. yesterday night. It landed in my login somewhere around 9 p.m. This is my file now. This is my office. This is my office, right? I cleared when I was driving from my home to my office at 11 a.m. today. By now, along with an order copy of the proposal sent by Bidar DC, it would have gone back to Bidar by now. Less than 24 hours. Thanks to a system called e-office. Right? So this is the role technology plays. Now that will also lead into your next question. Now who developed this e-office software for us? It's not a startup. And sorry to my friend, it's not the tech companies of India. It's a government organization that developed the e-office software for me. Now why is it that a government agency is developing it? That is where I lead into your question earlier. Because I am happy to work with startups. I'm happy to work with the private sector. First, you need to understand your client. If government is your client, you need to understand my pain points. You need to understand my process. You need to understand my stakeholders, the people, the public, how I interface with the public, and where there are bottlenecks in the process, and how you are going to solve my problem. So if you study, if you do your due diligence, if you do your homework, and come to me with a solution that is going to work, I will be the first one to work with you. But if you come asking me, what can I do for you? Sorry, I don't have that much time and patience to explain to you my ecosystem, my pain points, my problems, my stakeholders, how interact with stakeholders, and how you can solve me. If I'm going to do that, why do I need you? So that's why we today in my department, we are pushing boundaries and we are reimagining things. But who are the ones who are providing solutions to me? It's my government agencies. I have many software agencies within government. We have the e-governance department. I have the Bhumi cell in my department. I have the NIC, National Informatics Center. It's these people who understand me and who are designing me solutions. If you can do it, if you can understand my systems, design solutions, deliver results, I will be very happy to work with startups or any other private agency. But first, have you got it in you to invest your mind space and capacity to understand what you are corresponding with and design solutions accordingly? That if you are willing to do it, I'll be very happy.
Understood. So, sir, before I come back to you, I want to get Prashant's viewpoint on this. Being an investor and having seen this, Prashant.
I think we are talking two different things. I think what the Minister is speaking about is the fundamental underlying infrastructure that requires the department to perform. I think that has to be done within the department. And that technology, I think whether it's e-office, any of these, have to be owned by the government. But I think there is a lot of value where what I'm talking about, Minister, is there's a lot of value for government data. So let's say land records, collateralization of land records today. I mean, why should I not be able to as easily get access for a loan if that entire land record digitization is 100% shareable with a bank, right? So today on my any financial app, it could be PhonePe, it could be any of those. Today, it's enabled with all kinds of capabilities for me to be able to access credit. Now, if there is a mechanism for building that data stack where in a secure manner, the revenue data can be shared with a startup, which is financially empowered to then use that data to be able to help you with less friction and in a more seamless manner get access to credit. I think we should work together, right? So it's not about doing something for the government always. It's about working in collaboration with the government to reduce the friction for the common citizen. And very similar in health, right? So there is new solutions for which are, like the minister said, which are AI-based, which require next generation algorithms to be built. Today, where do you go for clinical data? No hospital independently is going to give you the data. It's only the government that can mandate unification of this data and create a mechanism to share the data with the startup, so that the startup then uses that data to fine-tune an algorithm that provides the solution for cancer screening. So I think I'm looking at government as an accelerator in collaboration for using their biggest strength, which is data.
So hence your point is, be very clear what you're asking the government and how we can collaborate with the government, and some underlying infrastructure might not
and
be.
there I totally agree with the minister that the startup needs to understand the confidentiality of data, what to do and how to deal with this data, and also be very clear what are the boundaries for the use of that data.
Okay.
So I think the maturity of the startup that can work with the government is also important. And that's
yes.
what the minister
Early stage is
talking.
very hard. Sir, coming to you, two questions. One is, we are looking at health stack and how are we planning to roll that out? And number two, I think I'll also ask Minister Krishna Bairagowda also, is how do you enable the government employees in understanding the new technology, like skilling? Because skilling is a big issue even in corporate sector, and it will be a bigger issue in the government also. So how do you handle skilling for people to understand these new technology stacks that have come up?
So your first one was?
Health stack.
Health stack, yeah. Now, see, the health stack is something that we require because as a department, we have confronting issues on a daily basis. And since it's a huge department, for us to literally think about, like when we spoke about startups or new technologies, neither do we have the time or the mind space to really put our heads to it and think on, okay, what are the solutions that are there and how do we evolve or use these solutions to our purpose and our needs. Because we are dealing with doctors and you know how government runs. It's a bureaucratic, there are issues, and we have got issues with our workers, we've got issues with things going wrong. It's a public issue. Like we saw, few days back, we were in the news for all these abortions of female fetuses. And, or there'll be dengue happening, there'll be something or the other always happening. So we are always on alert mode and we are always overworked. Our department is always overworked. And so for that, we need a system which will work by itself, but in consultation with us to see that what is it that can be used in terms of technology available or new technologies emerging, which can be utilized for our needs. So that's the reason why we need these health stack and centers of excellence, which will really look at these and incubate these ideas and experiment on these things and work with us at, say, a taluka level, district level, and then we can take it up. So we've been already doing that, and now we want to formalize this now and do it. And we are always willing to work with the new, like I'll want to give you another example of how we've done with the Indian Institute of Science. We have worked on how we can analyze, or there's a term for it, it's called predictive analysis. Predictive analysis of using all the data that is available with us. They take the data and they study it for the last few years, what's happened, and where are the chances of dengue. Dengue is a common disease which is now quite rampant all across the state and India. So where is it emerging? Can we catch it early? The onset of dengue, can we catch it at an earlier stage using their predictive analysis? So Indian Institute of Science is working with us, and some of the results have been slightly encouraging. I think they just started. So maybe by next year, we may be able to have a proper model. So for all communicable diseases, maybe we can use that. So there is scope for usage of all this, and definitely we will work on that. The second thing that you said was, how do we make our people learn these or skill them, or whether do they have that aptitude or the commitment to use these new innovative or using new technologies. See, for us, our workers, say an ASHA worker on the ground, today I think from my point of view, when I look at them, they've become quite tech friendly in terms of using smartphones, in terms of taking data, putting in data and uploading it. So I think definitely now with the advent of smartphones and after COVID, I think many people started using technologies at a very low level, and they have become quite adept. So I think we need to prepare them, and we can create a mindset for it to be used. But we see a lot of resistance for this technology even amongst professionals, say in our hospitals, doctors. Now, our doctors are not willing to use technology. They're not willing to enter the data on the networks. They're not used to it, to punch in what they have done, what they have said. So so there is a resistance from the professional people also. So it is a gradual process, but I think if better use of or a more friendly technology, if it comes in, or easy to use, I think that will enable more people to use it. And I think the resistance to use of technology is reducing, drastically reducing. So people are wanting to use it, people are willing to use it, but we need to make it work well. Our server should work well, our system should work well, it should not hang, it should not be like, it's not, there's a delay in the process. So those systems, if we can enable and do put it in place in a proper way, the resistance to use technology is definitely is not so great as what people may think.
So two aspects will be usability, user experience number one,
Yeah.
and efficiency to break that barrier.
Correct.
Lovely,
Yeah.
lovely. Sir, coming to you on the same skill, I know you had you have thoughts on that. So your view on, in general, in terms of, because like I said, industry also faces problems with skilling. Wherever we go, we say, okay, we need AI skills, we need Gen AI skills, we need prompt engineering now. So it's a constant process. And corporates can probably potentially convince their employees faster than the government can do. So what is your thought on skilling aspects in the government?
If you're talking about upskilling the government human resource, skilling is an activity. You can mobilize resources for the skilling job. Either the government can train master trainers or have an army of trainers, or we can even outsource it to the private sector to do the skilling part, right? So there is a very, proper skilling profession, industry. It's not difficult to mobilize skilling activity. The challenge is in opening our minds to adoption of skill technology and to upskill ourselves, those of us in the government. That is the bigger challenge for us in government, to convince our own rank and file, our ecosystem, that you either adopt technology or you will go extinct, right? This type of an existential understanding of the need for technology and convincing our people, that's the bigger challenge I see. So once our minds open to the need for technology, the skilling will automatically flow. So the job of people like us at the top is to set an ecosystem, set the expectations that, boss, we need to get on to the bus of technology, because technology means citizen empowerment through better governance. Technology is democratization, because technology can deliver governance far better, use of technology. So if we can drill down this message that democratization requires adoption of technology, citizen empowerment can be achieved, better governance will happen through technology. So all of us need to get onto this bandwagon. That's our role. And once that message goes down the chain, skilling is very easy in my view. We can do it internally or we can hire. There are definite resources available. So I think challenge is we, the government as a whole, as a system, must accept the need for technology to improve governance.
No, very fair point, but I don't think it's any different in the corporate sector as well, right, Prashant, when opening up the minds of the people to be, adopted. So your thoughts on...
If you don't mind,
Sure,
Prashant.
sure.
We are drilling this down in our department. Now I've made the electronic office mandatory up to the tehsil level. My experience is that once you define the ecosystem, 50% of the people are willing to shift into it. That's my experience so far. So there are some laggards, resistors, but that's not all. There are people willing to shift. So if there is proper leadership from the top, I bet that our own systems will transition to a more tech-friendly, so hence better governance model if we set the right environment.
Very true, very true.
No, I think the good news is, I've been now working for about 8 years with the government, right? I think there is, like Minister Gundarao said and Minister Baregoda says, I think there is a new shift within government that I'm seeing. It's always been at the high level, there has been commitment. But I think down the line, there was always, this discomfort with technology and them feeling that technology would mean that they would lose control and the fear of technology. But I think they've kind of gone beyond that. So I see that this is a good time for us to, and here's where I feel that the private industry here, mostly startups and the government, I think working together will just accelerate this and break down those barriers a bit more, right? Because when they see them working in a particular, see, the startup in many cases, or what you can see in the private sector, is usually a pilot. To take that pilot to scale, you need to work with the government. So in many cases, you cannot get to billion transaction scale or million transaction scale without partnering with the government. So I think the more we can expose the innovations within startups to folks in the department and down the line, I think through the health stack and through some of these, the agri stack and some of these initiatives, I think there'll be a more openness.
Fully agree
because they have to see this thing working.
Yeah, fully agree that industry participating with the government is very, very critical, and thankfully for us, we have a government that also works very well with the industry. So, sir, final question to both of you. I know we're running short of time. So, fast forward 10 years, how does your department look like, and what benefits will citizens of Karnataka get using technology and innovation?
Look, we have already come a long way, let us be clear. I remember when I was in college, when first Rajiv Gandhi tried to bring basic computing into India and get nationalized banks to adopt technology. I don't know if you remember.
Yes.
I was in college those days. The nationalized banks went on a nationwide strike against introduction of computers in banks. Right? From there to to Bhumi that I spoke about earlier, to Aadhaar being ubiquitous now, to hundreds of millions of people getting their payments, government benefit payments directly into their account without a single paisa of siphonage. Thanks to technology again. We have come a long way. But, the only constant is change. The only constant is innovation. The only constant is improvement. If we are serious about governance, there is still a long way to go. So, to answer your question, if I look back, I don't know when, in cinemas, we saw the screen touch technology before it was in common usage. We thought it's a, good idea.
Sci-fi movie.
Sci-fi, mostly. But today, you're probably not born with a silver spoon in your mouth, but you're born with a touchscreen technology, right? So the possibilities are endless in my view, right? So in my own department, now I'll stop generalizing and theorizing and come to my department. If I close my eyes and look forward to 10 years down the line, my department deals with land resource management. We call it revenue department, but our job is land resource management. So I want to visualize a day where the land title, there is absolute certainty for land title. My land has a unique identity which cannot be disputed, where there are no doubts, question marks hanging on my land and my title, my ownership of it. And that ownership I can exercise fully, meaning I can transact my property as and when I want without having to go to the government office itself. So there is an absolute ownership of property and a seamless movement of that ownership, so that the full economic productive value of that asset is fully realized by the owner and by the society. And there is as minimum scope for government to intervene in the seamless movement as possible.
That's awesome, sir, because like you said, digitization reduces corruption. And if you're able to achieve your vision and goal, I think will be a different state.
That's my visualization.
Awesome.
10 years down the line.
We will all work very hard to get to.
I look forward to support from the private sector to do this. We are open.
Absolutely.
The government is open.
Yeah.
Because as I said, if I can do that, that's better governance.
Great.
If I can do that, that's citizen empowerment. And if I can do that, their democracy attains real meaning.
Awesome, sir. We'll definitely work with you on that. Sir, same question to you. Fast forward 10 years. You can also close your eyes if you want.
No, I think the sky is the limit for us, our department. And I think we need to get ourselves prepared for it, because I think AI is going to be a game changer for our department. I think we are just at the early stages of usage of artificial intelligence. So that's something that we need to look at. So what will be the end game, or what will be the goal that we want to achieve in 10 years? I would say that super specialty diagnosis or specialty diagnosis should be available to every citizen of the state at their village level. At the primary health center level, super specialty diagnosis and diagnosis from specialist doctors should be available at the primary health center. That, I think, technology can definitely, head in the direction. There is scope for it. It's definitely a possibility. It's not a wild dream. And also, of course, care becomes a little bit more it needs the patient to move. But if we can prevent someone from getting a disease, or if you can diagnose something at an early stage, I think a lot of things can be solved at that level itself. So our aim is what? Every citizen should have his health record on a card. It should be an e-record system where anywhere he goes, to any hospital, any health center, anywhere, he did not carry files of X-rays, scans, health reports, his prescriptions. All that he should not be carrying. All he needs to have is a card where everything should be available on the cloud, where the card is presented at any center in Karnataka or maybe anywhere in India also. And everything should be available for the doctors or for the people who want to see it. So that is something which is already we are in the process. We have started the process for it. So that will be one of the things that we'll want to do. Second thing is hospitals and all our systems to improve efficiency, to know who's doing what is the output of each and every doctor, what is the output of each and every nurse, how is the hospital functioning, all that. It's the e-office system that should have that seamless connectivity. So where on my phone, I should be able to pick up and look at, say, a particular taluk, say in anywhere in Shimoga or somewhere, press that button or press on my phone, go to that hospital or go to the health center, press on that, see who are the people there, how many procedures, how many deliveries, how many surgeries, who's done what. Everything should be available. What that will ensure is transparency, efficiency, and accountability. Because today, we don't know who's performing, and the performer and the non-performer both are on the same page or in the same place. So how do we identify them? So to cut through and go from the bottom to the top and from the top to the bottom seamlessly, that I think technology can do. So telemedicine, tele-ICUs, using AI to check for every kind of disease, and the person in Jaideva or in Manipal, the super specialty doctors, they should be accessible to the person in a distant village. So that I think will be, if we can achieve that, and it is doable. I don't think it's unachievable. Maybe we can achieve it within 5 years also. So that's something which I would look at to do in my department.
That's a very grand vision, sir, and I'm hoping that we will get there.
Yeah, thank you.
With that, we will conclude the conversation, but based on what we hear, we are looking forward to some exciting times, golden age for us, because Karnataka is obviously in the forefront of digitization, in the forefront of innovation, and we'll all work with the government as an industry and then, enable this and even speed it up wherever we can. Thank you very much, sir. Thanks for your time and sharing your thoughts. Very, very insightful. Thanks so much.
Well, technology for better governance. I would request the Honorable Minister, Shri Priyank Khargeji, to kindly come over and felicitate the dignitaries on the dais. Yeah. Shri Dinesh Gundu Rao, Honorable Minister for Health and Family Welfare, Government of Karnataka. Thank you very much, sir. Dhanyavadagalu. We just heard you come from a function from Tumkuru, so thanks a lot. Thank you, sir. Also to Shri Krishna Bhaire Gowda, the Honorable Minister for Revenue. Sincere request to photographers to kindly allow us to do our work, please. Thank you. Shri Krishna Bhaire Gowda, Honorable Minister for Revenue. Thank you. I would also request the Honorable Minister to honor the moderator, Shri Naganand Doreswamy, the founder and managing director of Idea Spring Capital. Thank you very much. We'll have a photograph. Now the photographers are free to click how many ever photographs you want. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. I would request the dignitaries to kindly take their seats in front of the stage as we are going to start the award ceremony in the next 5 minutes or so. Ladies and gentlemen, I would request all of you to kindly take your seats because we are going to start the awards function in the next 1 or 2 minutes. I would request the